Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of the Unwatched Pile. Ceremonial popcorn at the beginning.
I know. Looking good. Grab it. Coincidentally, I was eating some popcorn last night. I've got a hankering recently for kettle corn. I don't know why.
I don't like kettle corn at all.
What's interesting, it's something I never really had before myself. I always eat traditional popcorn or smart food or something like that. But recently there was like a local place that makes their own kettle corn. That's all they do, and then they sell it in like supermarkets. And it was on sale, so I got some, and it's rather good. It has a little sweetness to it and saltiness, which is very, very nice because it's not quite like caramel corn, but it still has a little bit of that sweetness in it.
Look, I can enjoy that. I'm not saying I can't, but like traditionally, like I'm very traditional with popcorn. Same thing with like pizza. Like I'm just a pepperoni guy. Like I don't eat all that bells and whistles. I very traditional with my food. I'm very plain with my food. Some people would say, Steven, why don't you branch out? I do branch out when I feel like it, but for the most part,
you got to be in the right mood to go outside your comfort zone.
You know, sure, but it's when I'm like wanting to be comfortable. They call it comfort food for a reason. I like it's plain. It can be. It don't have to be. You don't. Let's get out of this. We're talking movies.
You like reliability. I got you.
It's reliable. It's reliable. Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to the welcome to the Unwatched Pile, number 26. And if you've never heard or watched this show, this is the show where, as collectors, you know, we sometimes buy some Blu-rays that we've never seen. You know, it's a weird concept, but we do as collectors buy things we've never seen because we're that curious about cinema. So sometimes when we do that, it gets backed up and it becomes a pile. And then the show, we dust that pile off and we finally watch some of the movies that have maybe sitting around for a while. We bring it on here, we talk about it. And then after that, we pair it up with something that seems like it fits good together as a double feature. That's the show. And we always bring a guest on. So without further ado, we'll bring that guest in. It's been a minute since we've had him on the program. He's been on Chasing Labels. He's been around we've had him throughout the years. He is now making his return, and that is Mr. Doug McCambridge. What's up, man?
Gentlemen, thank you for having me on. And I mean, I'm willing to listen. If you want to talk popcorn, we can do that. I mean, we don't need to talk movies. I don't know what people expect from this particular podcast.
I mean, it's, you know, I think they've probably gotten tired of us talking movies.
Okay. All right.
We could probably turn this into a food talking thing.
I'm ready to be the first person on where we switch formats completely. You know, no prep, unbeknownst to me, throw out a topic, whatever, and we'll figure it out.
This is now the uneaten pile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the things we have not eaten yet.
Or it could just be called "What Are You Eating?" ?
Yes.
I guarantee you there's like 25 podcasts that do that already.
I'm sure.
You know what?
We're
over
behind.
The last several years, like food tasting and all that stuff has become massively huge on social media formats. Like people have massive followings.
My kids love it. I don't understand. Like I don't see the appeal, but they'll just sit there and they'll just watch people eat food.
Well,
like,
all right, it's just like
something.
It's just like kids today that watch other people play video games. Like I will never understand it.
Yeah.
Like you either play them or you don't. Like I stopped playing them. So
that kind of goes back to like when you were kids, you would watch your friends play or cousins play or siblings play or something like that. So I guess that maybe that's carried over to adulthood. The food thing.
I had to do that because I didn't have Nintendo. So if I was going to play Nintendo, it was at my friend's house. And listen, if it was not a 2-player game, you had to take turns and you had to sit and just watch. And he knew how to play. So he would play forever until he died. And for me, it was a 2-minute process.
Right. I'm the friend in that scenario where I had all of the systems. Okay. So everybody would come over and play on my systems.
Nice.
So I was the opposite of that.
Well, that's the thing is kids today don't have the excuse. They have all the shit. They just do it because it's pleasurable. They're like, I love watching the guy play. But we're way off track here.
Yeah, we're way off track.
Doug, welcome back to the Unwatched Pile. Have you accumulated a lot more movies that are unwatched since the last time you were here?
I've really pared back my collecting. It was unreasonable. Like it was out of control. I think you guys can relate.
We know.
It was to the point where, and this is not a reason why I pared down, but it got to the point where it was kind of embarrassing. Like for people to come into my home, like friends of my wife, and if they wandered into the basement just to see walls of Blu-rays, like people that aren't like us cannot understand that.
I just literally had this occasion.
It's tough to explain.
I had a party over here, and my wife's like, take them downstairs, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they all came in. They're like
yeah.
What? Like, why?
Yeah. And I don't even know how to explain it because I'm like, well, the people I talk to about this understand it because they're doing the same thing. So some sort of outsider, I'm like, how do I explain what's going on here? And then it normally comes down to like, okay, well, wait, what do you collect? And the answer is always, I don't collect anything. I'm like, well, you're boring, so I shouldn't talk to you anyway.
Why are you here?
No, but I really did. Like, it was to the point where like it was overtaking a large portion of my living space. And I had to look around and go, okay, what am I never going to watch again? And can I sell that? And now I don't want to say it's better because I am collecting less movies, but what I do get now, I get the big boxes, like the big, like I'm not saving shelf space at all. Like I've really been like,
you sound like me, honestly.
Yeah. It's like, I'll buy one thing for $55. That's it.
Yeah. I have a whole shelf to my right here. It's all box sets.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of what I buy these days. I love a box set. It's my favorite thing.
Oh,
and
great.
But it's good, man. We all got to reevaluate how we buy this stuff, not only as adults that have to like pay for things other than movies, but like just because like this show, we have to make sure we're not becoming irresponsible in not watching our movies. So
exactly.
It's good to hear that you've had self-reflection and that it's working out for you somewhat.
It is. Sure. The one thing I was really afraid of is that I would regret it. Like when I started selling things, like that was the biggest thing is, am I going to regret this? It hasn't happened yet. I haven't rebought anything yet. There have been times where I'm tempted when there's a sale.
Yeah.
Who knows however many different sales there are. I will see things. I'm like, that's a pretty good price. Now, did I sell it for that originally? Like, am I turning some sort of bizarre profit if I buy it again? It hasn't happened yet, but I could see it.
Yeah, I've just stayed away from. I mean, it's funny to say this, but because I'm still involved in this whole, I don't do chasing labels regularly anymore, but I am still involved. So you'd think that I'm not hooked in like I was. Like I don't, like I just. If I just stay away from it, like I don't get caught up in it. So I'm just buying what really is like profoundly interesting to me. So, and not so much just crazy blind buying. But funny enough, my pick tonight is a very recent buy that was blind.
Okay.
So
no, that's great.
Yeah.
And there is something very cathartic. My shopping carts on these websites are full. Like that's
something Andrew does.
That's what I do. I do the same thing.
I'll fill it up and I'll go, I don't think I need this. And I'll leave. And then the next time I go in, I'm like, oh, look, I already have a bunch of stuff here, but I don't need it. But
decide what to get, what not to get. I'll just, if there's a sale on a website, I'll go wholesale, pick out, okay, if that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, add it to the cart. And then after one, I go to the cart, and that's when you start making the executive decisions.
Yeah.
Do I really need that? Is that a good price? What I mean? All this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not paring it down. I've done that in real life when I've gone to sales in stores in real life, like the Criterion sale. I'll just start, piling things up and then make decision after I'm done. That's my process, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I'm saving money on a therapist. Like that's what it is. So
indeed. I'm my own therapist, I guess.
Well, I try to avoid. I'm not against therapy, but I'm also against wasting money on therapy.
There you go.
But all right. So before we get into it, a couple little house cleaning things. We will remind you that, of course, Chasing Labels is every other Monday. That'll be next Monday. You'll get Chasing Labels, and then also.
I was say, what is that date again? Is that the
third?
Fourth?
The third?
I think it's the 4th of August.
Okay,
Yeah, so
4th.
coming up for that will be lots of things.
Yeah, and then this coming Saturday, you'll have another episode of the Movies Down Memory Lane. This time we are doing Dan's pick, which he picked Spotlight from 2016. So we'll be going over that. And merch store should be coming soon. I'm actually showing. Here's one of the most recent designs.
I got mine too.
This is
I figured since we were going live.
Yeah, this is a Spielberg design here. So it says, sharks, dinosaurs, aliens, oh my. So a little bit of Wizard of Oz mixed in there.
Nice.
So that'll be hopefully launching soon. And so and kind of a behind the scenes thing, Movie Mutations, which we've discussed on the show before, is getting its first official game recorded this week. So the process of that getting closer to a final release is news. So because I've been talking about it for a while, and finally we're getting close to getting official episodes recorded so that we can get them to your eyeballs. So I'm excited about that. But before we get into this, also at the top, Doug's podcast, Good Times, Great Movies. Tell them a little bit about that before we get in.
It's a podcast that I've been doing for 10 years now. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary of the show. Every other week, we do not leave the 1980s. It's, we don't do 90s movies, 70s, nothing like that. It's all 80s movies, and whether we like them or dislike them, it's good-natured ribbing. We just kind of take the piss out of movies, and 10 years in, I'm still surprised we have not done like Ghostbusters.
Really?
We haven't done Goonies.
You're like actively avoiding like the main ones.
It's not even so much that. Like I feel like now I'm just using the podcast as an excuse to watch movies I've never seen before.
Gotcha.
like we'll hit the big ones every now and then, but it's a fun way to discover something new. So
sure. That's why it's part of the reason I love doing this show.
Yeah, it's great.
It's giving me a reason to watch something I haven't seen. So and of course, Josephine's in the chat saying hey to everybody and happy birthday to Josephine.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday, Josephine.
Happy birthday.
And she, of course, got recent watches. Breakheart Pass, Little Girl of Hanio. Hooper. That's the one you love, Hooper. Death Trap. I love Death Trap.
Death Trap is the Sidney Lumet movie.
Yeah.
Death Trap is amazing. We recently did it on the podcast, and it was one where it was like, can we make fun of this? Like, it was a challenge because it's such a great movie. Yes.
Yeah. And then Shadow of a Doubt, of course, Hitchcock.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is. Breakout Ridge is Charles Bronson, I believe. It's Charles Bronson action film from the 1970s. He was doing a bunch of those back then and into the 80s with all the Death Wish movies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Gambit's great as well. I just saw that pop up.
Oh, yes. So, that is also good.
All right. Well, let's do it. We always start with our guest. We start with him. What movie did you bring in as your unwatched film?
Well, we were talking about box sets, and I have had this box set sitting on my shelf for so long. Like it's the Marlene Dietrich and Sternberg. Criterion put one out. And of course, like some deranged, collector, I had both.
I have both.
Yeah. And I realized I had not cracked this thing open. And I went through, and you, Stephen, even made some suggestions to me because I was like, I don't think I've seen any of these. You tossed a couple out. And then I went into my letterbox and I realized, okay, I have seen a couple of these. This is the unwatched pile. So I had to choose something that I had not seen. So I chose Morocco from 1930. Gary Cooper, Marlene Dietrich. And I don't know, have either of you guys seen this before I sort of get into it?
I've seen it. It's just been so long.
Yeah, I've seen it because I have the Criterion set.
Yes.
And a few years ago, I just made my way through like each one, like just to like a Marlene Dietrich and Joseph von Sternberg marathon. So I have the first one, and I do remember that Indicator had put out their set too. And this is what the Criterion one looks like, which is a little bit different artwork than the Indicator one. But it's really good. So Doug will obviously tell you guys about it.
Yeah, like I kept the Indicator one, and honestly, I kept it just because of the real hard box that they have, and I really do like the artwork on it as well. So I mean, it's a love story. It's a romance. You know, this is the Unwatched Pile, and I've been on here before, and I listen to your show, and I feel like just about every time people come on, it's all hits. Everybody's kind of happy with what they watched, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this movie or that it was a difficult watch. It certainly wasn't. It's breezy. It's like 90 minutes maybe. My biggest issue is that I didn't feel any chemistry between Cooper and Marlena Dietrich at all. Like it was kind of difficult. And it's sort of a love triangle as well. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. Adolphe Menjou. Maybe
sounds good. Sounds
good. Let's say that I pronounced that correctly.
good.
So he is a wealthy man, and Gary Cooper is in the French Foreign Legion, and he's kind of a ladies' man, jumps from one lady to another. Let's say Marlena Dietrich is a singer, a pretty famous singer, and it's sort of a love triangle between these three people. And she kind of goes back and forth, and at one point Gary Cooper kind of reserves himself to say, okay, well, this guy's loaded. I'm kind of a heel, kind of a cad. Maybe she'd be better off with this guy. But of course she's in love with Gary Cooper. So in the end, she follows him out. There's a little bit of action. There's a little bit of conflict between he and his commanding officer, who Gary Cooper's having an affair with his commanding officer's wife. So this guy goes into battle and wants to shoot Cooper, but he gets shot by the enemy and things like that. So there is a little bit of tension there, but like none of these people I felt had any chemistry. I am a sucker. So we all have genres, movies that we are fans of and we just gravitate toward. I have the weirdest, like old Hollywood depictions of like tropical or sub-Saharan climates. I love it. Like I love the set dressing. I love the costumes. I love how everybody's always hot and everybody's always sweaty and there's fans and there's just potted palms in every corner of every room. Like I'm a sucker for that. My favorite Universal monster is the Mummy, and I think it's just because of the setting. So this was kind of, and I think this is kind of why I chose this. And in the end, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't hit. And I didn't feel like, and I don't even want to blame any of the actors at all. Like Marlena Dietrich, like I don't even need to go through her filmography to know that she brings the heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and even Gary Cooper, I feel like I've heard people talk about him recently, and I think that he's getting like a negative reappraisal. I think people are not crazy about his level of, I don't want to say non-acting, but like comfortable acting where he's just kind of himself. But 3 years later, he was in Design for Living. And in that movie, Frederick March and Miriam Hopkins, like in that movie, I feel like there's a threesome about to break out in every scene. Like it's, and I was hoping I was going to get that from this. It just didn't deliver.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's, you bring up, that there's a lot of hits on here, and it's funny enough you say that because like
Steven's notorious for one big miss.
No. I am notorious for one. There was one episode we did. What was it? See, I don't even want to remember it. It's the one, the guy that did Donnie Darko, his other movie.
I'll look it up just
with the rock in it. With the rock in it.
I don't even know.
Shit. Sorry, I'm derailing.
Yeah, who's the Richard Kelly was the director.
Richard Kelly. Yeah.
Southland Tales.
Southland Tales.
Yeah.
I watched that for this show. Oh my god, I fucking hated that movie.
But that's a rough watch. I agree.
That's the big notorious one because I think that's kind of the only one that
there's other one. There's been a couple others that I've like been like okay about, but but stay tuned because
no. And
I got.
And again, like I'm not trashing this movie because this could very well be, could very well work for somebody, but it's it's by the numbers. Like I don't need to read the synopsis. to know what's going to happen in this movie. Like, I know how it's going to end. I kind of knew every beat along the way. And like I said, it just didn't hit. It just felt like everybody was kind of going through the motions with this.
Yeah, I was gonna look up because I've seen it's been. See, I gave it a 3.5 stars. So I must have thought it was okay, probably a little bit above what you're saying. And it's probably like it's it's one of them. I probably that set. I like that set, but it is also one of them things where it feels like a lot of times when they build sets like this, it's like there's maybe one really big one in there. But the rest of them are like complimentary more than they are like all really good.
Yeah.
And I think it was what's the Scarlet Empress? Is that in there?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one. That's the one I think is like maybe the big hit in that.
Yes.
Movie. And then the rest of them are like okay.
Scarlet Empress and I think Shanghai Express may have been the two that you suggested to me, but I'd already seen those two. And you're right, it is funny because during the musical number, I mean, that's the big set, and then every other interaction sort of takes place in what appears to be like an 8x10 room. Like everything is small.
I mean,
I'll say it's very much a movie of its time. Like this is like 1930. Talkies were relatively new. It's pre-code Hollywood. I think it's Joseph von Sternberg's like first Hollywood movie. I think it's Marlene Dietrich's first Hollywood movie. It's all like a first time like type of like bringing over like European sensibilities to Hollywood with like an influx of like European directors of that time, like Fritz Lang and German Expressionism, all that kind of stuff. So I always ended up liking the movie, but like you guys are saying, it is rather stagey. To me, it's always like Marlene Dietrich is kind of a true star. You know what I mean? Like she's like she uplifts the projects that she's in to the point where like it gets a little boost in rating, if you will, for me personally. But I understand that Gary Cooper is a fascinating actor to me, Doug, because you're not the first person to say that and to say that his work is not almost getting reappraised, but I think people kind of like understanding it a little bit more for what it is. He kind of was always that type of actor throughout his entire career, going back from 1930 all the way up to like High Noon in the early 50s. He's extremely stoic and almost one could say wooden. They want to be a little more negative. I thought he was a little more expressionistic early on in his career, and he just got more stoic as time went on. But I understand that perspective, and it's kind of interesting that like you have Marlene Dietrich, who is very sultry and sociable and not emotional, but like she's giving a lot on screen, as opposed to Gary Cooper, who's very much the opposite, who's kind of just giving you what he's supposed to give you as an actor. It's very fascinating.
And I feel like for him, I think that may have been the biggest problem with the movie is he is supposed to be playing this ladies man, this cad, and I never bought it. Like I never bought it at all. He always seemed a little bit too boring. And he didn't seem to be really, you didn't buy, like George Clooney could do that, not a problem at all. And I always weirdly heard a comparison between the two of them. I'm like, no, that doesn't even make any sense. This movie also, you talk about pre-code. I think the big scene for this movie is when she is performing, and this is when she's dressed in a suit with the top hat, and she kisses a woman in the audience.
I think it's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, and there is some nudity in this movie too, which I did not expect either. So that was, there were little things here and there, and I think, this is the first movie in this box set, and I think if you were to go in chronological order, I think this is sort of setting the table for these later films. A lot of these same themes are explored, and a lot of the sort of rough edges are sort of ironed out as it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's though films maybe like Morocco are not maybe the best work of this combination, these two, the director and actor combo, but like you said, sometimes it's interesting to watch these movies that get to the better movies. Like
exactly.
See the journey.
Yeah, watching them in order, you can see kind of the evolution. You can also see the diversity with Marlene Dietrich and Joseph von Sternberg, because even in this box set, there's like Scarlet Empress is like a period piece royalty type of movie. Shanghai Express is also, well, it's a period piece to us, but it was kind of rather contemporary at the time.
Right.
Shanghai Express, I think, is my favorite in the box set. I think it's, I don't know, it's the one I've watched the most. Maybe I'm biased for that, but I feel like just this entire set, whether it's this set from Criterion or the one from Indicator, it's a heck of a journey to go on.
Yeah.
Like it's a really like expressive journey. It's kind of like, you know, if you were in film school, this would kind of be like on your syllabus of of like films to watch.
And I think that's the thing. I just finished this maybe 2 hours ago, 2 hours before we recorded. And a couple things that this made me want to do is to go through this box set in order, even the ones I've seen, to revisit those, and certainly to fill in the gaps, the few that I haven't seen yet. The other thing is, and I will listen to Sam Deegan and Kat Ellinger, and they do a commentary together. Like I will listen to them separately do commentary. So I am very like, I will sit through this again. I don't want to say it that way, but I will gladly watch this commentary. And there have been movies also, and like, I'm not ashamed to admit this, like movies that I didn't enjoy because I didn't get them. Like maybe I didn't understand the significance. And sometimes listening to commentaries, if you're willing to do that, can greatly, you know, enhance your appreciation of a film. And this might be one that really helps.
Well, they can be insightful, and they can, you know, show you things or teach you things that you didn't even notice yourself or that you were even looking for. Especially those two people. I pretty much, one of my main things about chasing labels, anytime you see certain people who keep showing up, there's a reason why like these movies are at least worth a watch. You know what I mean? Because if they have their stamp of approval on it, you know the movie has some type of, you know, quality or value to it. And Kat Ellinger is definitely one of them. Well, it's someone we've had on the show before, Steven, a couple of times.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is Doug's pick, and we will come back around to him to see what he paired with it. Andrew,
yes,
tell us about Whisper of the Heart.
Yes, so I chose Whisper of the Heart, just because I was looking around and seeing what I hadn't seen and what like kind of a critically acclaimed film, a film that has a high rating that I hadn't seen before, one that people had been familiar with, and I was just going through a list on Letterboxd and I found Whisper of the Heart, and I was like, oh, I have this movie, I just haven't seen it yet. So over the years, I've been trying to collect as many of these specific releases as possible. The Shout Factory, Studio Ghibli, G-Kids anime releases, essentially. Now, most of these had been released by Disney years ago, and people have probably scooped those up. But I've been just trying to get these specifically. And Whisper of the Heart, I picked up a couple of years ago. This came out in 2018, but I think I got it sometime between like 2020 and now. So within the last 5 years or so. And I just had it in my shelf on my Studio Ghibli anime section. And this movie is the screenplay is done by Hayao Miyazaki, but it's not directed by him. Hayao Miyazaki being one of the greatest animators of all time, one of the greatest, you know, filmmakers in the animated world of all time. And Studio Ghibli really has become his thing. And over the last few years, like I said, Shout Factory has been re-releasing all of those movies and decided to pick this up. They released it in steelbook form, as well as these regular editions with the slipcovers. Only on Blu-ray so far. I think The Boy and the Heron has been the only 4K, which is the newest one. But Whisper of the Heart came out in 1995, so this is before Spirited Away. This is before Princess Mononoke. This is, I want to say, even before, I'm looking over on my shelf, this is right after Pompoko, before My Neighbor Totoro. But you understand what I'm saying, kind of mid-90s. Yeah. So you have that sumptuous hand-drawn animation, which you kind of don't see a lot anymore, especially with like American animation or US animation or Hollywood animation. They don't do the hand-drawn art anymore. They do the 3D art, Pixar, all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting to go back to a movie that's now 30 years old, to go back to a different time. But this movie it wasn't quite what I was expecting it to be, but it's still very, very good in terms of what it was dealing with. I was expecting a movie with more kind of fantastical elements to it because I was, in my mind, I was thinking of Spirited Away. I was thinking of Princess Mononoke. So I was thinking more of that fantasy type of stuff that we've known from Studio Ghibli, even with My Neighbor Totoro, this kind of fantasy wonder of it all. And there is aspects to it in here. But the movie is incredibly heartwarming, and I want to get the names right here because I always butcher the Japanese names. And I've got to go back to the main characters here. So this movie centers around the main character of, well, hold on, what's her name? Shizuku Tsukishima and Seiji Amasawa. But really, it's Shizuki who is the main character of here. She's the one here on the cover. And she is an adolescent going through the growing pains of adolescence, teenagehood, and existential crises that a lot of young people tend to go through throughout their lives, or at specific point of their lives. So thinking of like how you were at the age of 14, 15, the mid-teenage years, just trying to like kind of figure things out, but you're also grappling with like larger world things. Like you're starting to think of your future. Like, what am I going to do with my life going forward? What life choices do I want to make? Now, when you're a teenager, you probably shouldn't be thinking of those things because things change all the time. But obviously, we all did. You know what I mean? We all had these big existential questions and things that we were going through. So this movie follows her and her dealing with that and dealing with her creative writing process as well. She's an avid book reader, she's an avid writer, and she has a kind of wondrous mind of being creative. So one day she takes a lot of books out of the library, and she notices that all the books she keeps taking out, there's another name of somebody who's been taking out these books as well. And now, lo and behold, she ends up kind of not tracking this person down, but she ends up running into them by happenstance, whether it is fate, whether it is whatever the case may be, coincidence. And it is another young man who's around the same age as her, who's also grappling with existential crisis of what he wants to do. He just so happens he wants to make violins for a living, which I think is like a Lumiere. I think that's what it's called. But that's what he wants to do. But he's grappling in this idea of like, does he want to pursue like a regular educational career, or does he want to essentially become a craftsman? And he's really, really good at his craft. And she is really, really good at her craft, which just so happens to be creative writing. And she and him have this young budding connection romance type of thing. And it ends up flourishing in these two people going through this, change of life, if you will. You know what I mean? Adolescence. It's a really beautiful animated movie. And it's also a movie about kind of pursuing your passions, listening to your heart, the whispers of your heart, hence the title of the movie, and kind of going with that. Even though it may be difficult, but kind of pursuing all of those things and ultimately kind of fulfilling your desires because it's something that you're passionate about, something that you love, which I think is something that a lot of us can kind of connect with. So that is kind of in essential what Whisper of the Heart is about. The director of this movie, this is the only movie they've ever directed pretty much. And I don't know why, but Yoshifumi Kondo. But this is the only credit that they have. And I think this is just another beautiful Studio Ghibli film dealing with rather adult all-world life themes, but in the package of an animated film. And it just goes to show, once again, that animated films are not only for children. I mean, granted, a lot of them can be, and a lot of them are centered towards children, marketed towards children. The plots can be very childlike. But there's another group of animated films, like Japanese animation, that is really for a much wider audience. And I think this movie is definitely one of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fight. I think a lot of filmmakers that love dealing in animation that keep fighting is that their median is looked at as just for children. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's it's looked at as more of a genre than it is a median. That's I think Hollywood's fault. Hollywood did that. I think they
well, a lot of it is the whole Disney thing of it all, where Disney has been typically, just making stuff for children for decades.
Yeah.
And parents have just been showing their children Disney movies. So therefore, they just assume it's constantly for children. I mean, it even like kind of spreading from one medium to another, even comic books. For a lot of the older generations kind of just assume that comic books are for children. Whereas we know now in the modern day, there's loads of comics that are not, geared towards children.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting how people have these preconceived notions of certain, like you said, Stephen, genres or mediums or type of media or whatever, which shouldn't be put all in one box. You know what I mean? We should be just kind of looking at them from more of a critical eye. And I think Japanese cinema has really branched out with that a lot. Not only with Studio Ghibli, but even just anime and manga is a massive industry now. I think it's bigger than ever before. And it's cross generations of people and fandoms and whatnot. I think manga outsells like American comics. Like I think they think it's that popular now. And anime is, they have their own streaming services now for anime and whatnot. Right. And they have their own conventions. Like in a lot of states have, anime centric conventions. So it's massive now than it's ever been before.
Yeah, I should probably check that out because that's a hurdle that I honestly had to get past. And I think it was because of Disney, like you said. Like it's not like I just rejected animation, out of hat, but it was something where I was always standoffish. Like I was always like, okay, all right, fine. It always took a little while for that to sort of penetrate. And I haven't seen many Studio Ghibli films. Like I've seen the big ones, of course. I think it was Princess Mononoke that really got to me. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Cause I watched Ponyo and I like Ponyo. I like Totoro, but to me, they still felt like children's movies.
Very much so. Like those are the two most children ones. I mean, I was waiting in My Neighbor Totoro. Not really a spoiler, but I was waiting for some type of conflict to happen, and there's really isn't. And it's just like very like nice movie. And the movie and Ponyo,
beautiful to look at. Like I love looking at
beautiful.
them, but
that hand-drawn animation, nothing like it. Ponyo is kind of like the Little Mermaid. It really it is. Just use a Disney comparison.
Yeah, definitely. But I should check that out because my daughter has all of them. She has all the Blu-rays and everything like that. And it is funny because I will walk by and I've seen so few, but the one I look at, I always look at the cover and I'm like, I don't know, there's a pig flying an airplane. That seems pretty great to me. But I've never watched that one. So
yeah, Porco Rosso, like it looks like just like a pig flying an airplane.
Yeah,
but the whole movie's about fascism, and it's it's like,
you know what?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought how we got to that? But these movies I've been trying to collect many of them for years just to have a nice collection, and that's I just thought I would dig into some of the ones I hadn't seen yet. That's how I got to Whisper of the Heart.
Awesome. It whispered to you from the shelf.
It did.
Yes, that's good. I'm glad you heard it. But all right. So we'll come back around to Andrew for his pairing. So I chose and I think I'm like really this is one of them ones where I feel like I'm embarrassed somewhat because I know this is such a kind of a cult favorite these days. The 1998 Alex Proyas film Dark City. Just came out with this Arrow edition, and I was like, okay, haven't seen this, but I hear it's so great, and I'll get it. I'll just buy it. The movie's directed by Alex Proyas, and I'll be honest, this is where, as I was kind of hinting at, like, this movie, this is going to be one of the ones where I'm actually not like super high on the movie. It's just So like, and
you know what? There was a bit of a disconnection earlier. I might just leave now. Like I might.
But like I'm not like I don't hate it. I appreciate it on the first watch, but some of it might be like my disdain for the filmmaker himself because I'm not a fan of most of his movies. Like,
no, I get that. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
No, you're fine. Because like, funny enough, probably his least critically acclaimed movie I like the most, like iRobot. I like iRobot for some reason, but I'm not a big fan of The Crow. Like I don't get it. I don't get why people like it so much.
It's cool.
It's not even that cool. It isn't. It might be cool for people that like gothy stuff, but I mean, it's not. That doesn't ring. I mean, like that doesn't really hit me. Soundtrack's not that great. Like it's okay. But and then something like, I mean, that Gods of Egypt movie was
that kind of killed his career, actually.
Killed his, yeah.
It did. Yeah.
But yeah, Dark City seems to be his kind of his big movie, like the movie that people really like. Were like, dude, this dude's a genius. And I'll say this. So just to start off, like the movie's about, it's kind of a noir sci-fi, tech sci-fi kind of movie where this guy wakes up in a bathtub. He doesn't have any memory of anything, and he essentially gets blamed for these murders. And then there are these guys called the Strangers that live underneath the city that's always dark. Then they're kind of controlling the city. They're kind of, it's almost a Metropolis situation. It's almost got that feel to it, where everything's kind of a cog in a machine. Everything, and there's superpowers where people can make things happen out of thin air. It's an odd movie. And, for a first watch, I'm sure I didn't get everything, but I'll say this, like, I just didn't feel like, I feel like Alex Proyas is a filmmaker that very much he's like Zack Snyder. He's a style guy. He loves creating these very stylish movies, but I don't know that the themes and the story connect well with them. Always. I don't. And like I said, maybe because it was a first time watch, I miss things. But I just, even if the themes were there, I didn't feel like the story presented them in a way that made me compelled. Like it was a compelling thing. I felt the story dragged. I felt the murder aspect of it was like not that like engaging. Like nothing about it really kept me that interested. The stranger characters, I didn't think they were kind of lame. Like to me, I thought they all looked like Cenobites, but like if Cenobites were like lame, they were just they all look like characters from what's the Dan Aykroyd
Coneheads?
Coneheads. They all look like Coneheads, but with goth makeup on. Like they all look lame to me. I was like, is this really like the people that in charge of the Dark City? I don't know. Like, I was a little underwhelmed by this movie. Like, I don't get it. So somebody try to convince me otherwise.
Okay, I'm not going to convince you otherwise because I can see all of your arguments, and also, people love this movie.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing. If you had seen this, now this is a movie, and there's a lot of biases in here because there's two things. My wife would never remember this. This was the first date that my wife and I went on.
Wow.
Back in college, we went to go see this movie. At the time, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know what I was walking into. You couldn't watch, previews and trailers on YouTube or whatever. That wasn't a thing. So I was totally surprised. And also, and I'm not trying to get gross here. A 1998 Jennifer Connelly. I'm sorry. There's nothing. I wish she was more of this.
There was
movie.
one positive thing I could say about the movie.
No, I found it very stylish, and I just found it cool, and I found
it's a cool looking movie.
Yeah, and even like watching it, I watched it a couple of years ago. I thought the effects held up. Like I thought for 1998, I thought the effects were really good.
I'm okay with cheesy effects.
Yeah,
I'm okay with cheesy effects. Like
I didn't even think they were cheesy. Like
the aliens popping out of the bodies were pretty cheesy. Like it was pretty rough.
Yeah. No, I think for those reasons alone, I do have a soft spot for this movie. I will agree with some of the things you said. I never understood The Crow. Like I grew up, that was a movie that came out. I was probably like in the senior in high school. Man, people loved that. I watched it and I'm like, I don't understand. I do not understand the appeal. This is, I think, the only movie of his that I like. But honestly, I really like this film. I told you before, I've been slowing down my collecting, but boy, if you hate it, and you want to make me a good deal, I didn't buy it, so I'll just take it from you. No.
I don't hate the movie. I do think I need to watch it again, but and I want to watch the supplement so I can
Can I make a quick suggestion here? And I assume this has probably been ported over and over again. But there's a Roger Ebert commentary for this movie. It's very good. It really is. Yeah.
Let me see if it's in here. It is. It
is on there. Yeah. Yeah, I would check that out. I would watch it with that. He talks about the cinematography a lot, and I think that that's
the thing with me though. I actually had a conversation with Dan Skip Allen, one of our friends, about because he's really into cinematography. Like he likes to bring that up a lot when he's doing his reviews, and I'm like, cinematography. Like I understand. Like I've done some filmmaking. I understand cinematography to a point, but to bit too caught up in that being the reason you like something,
sure,
to me is kind of trying to say you understand a NASCAR driver and why that's harder than it looks. You know what I mean? You don't really know, and it's hard to understand the uniqueness. I'm saying most people, that the work that goes into what a cinematographer does and what all the ins and outs of it, and to really understand it enough to use it as a crux of why a movie's so great. I don't know.
I mean, just on that, I mean, it really all depends on what you're looking for in a movie, what you value in a movie.
Sure.
Versus not. Some people value, story and plot and character. Some people value the visuals more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know it's a visual medium, and I think that's important. But I think your visuals have to also inform the storytelling. It has to go both ways. You can't just have one without the other. I think I mean, you can, but I don't think it works as well when one doesn't complement the other. So I think maybe that's what I'm getting at. Maybe I don't.
But I also think it's such a personal preference, because I know this is not everybody's cup of tea. I will watch any Nicholas Winding reference. I watched that Copenhagen Cowboy, which is 10 episodes of pure nonsense, but it's so gorgeous. I just watched it. I was like,
you can say that a lot about
the music and the look, and I'm like, I would watch 20 episodes of this nonsense, not knowing what's happening, but loving every second of it.
Well, it's I mean, Only God Forgives.
I love
Only
it.
God Forgives.
Love it.
Stunningly gorgeous movie. Yeah. Couldn't tell you what's going on in it. You know what I mean?
Fabulous.
Well, I mean, a lot of Terrence Malick's later work, it was just gorgeous shots of the sunsets.
I mean, there's sometimes you're not going to connect with the movie on a story level, and you can appreciate that. And I guess I can appreciate the visuals in this movie, but I just couldn't get. I know I could tear out some of what the movie's trying to talk about. It's talking about, how much, the aliens in the film, spoiler alert, the strangers are using humans and trying to figure out what makes humans human. Understand the soul, understand what because their planet is going away, and they're trying to figure out how to, use humans as a test subject to figure out how to survive and go, and they're studying human behavior and stuff. And it's, I get that it's some of what it's going for, but I just don't think it maybe quite, the movie so kind of does it in such a cold way for something that wants to talk about human behavior and human soul. I don't feel like there's a lot of soul in it.
Yes, and I kind of feel like that's why it works. I feel like that is it feels so cold, and it feels so soulless. So no wonder they can't understand humans. It's like they picked the worst humans to try and
they literally
from or something.
They pick dead people.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your life outlook or your life philosophy or religion or whatever, when people do pass away, their soul does leave and goes away. So the fact that they're picking deceased soulless people, their experiments are already dead from the beginning. No pun intended. They are,
and then they I think, if I'm remembering right, they take memories from they take the memories from them, and they upload them to different people.
Yeah, they switch them between.
And they're
different
almost
people.
playing it's like they're playing a giant board game, if you will, or even a video game of
Yeah.
like dishing out different characteristics, different roles, different things like that, just to kind of play with humanity, really, on a like a microcosm level, because it's just
Yeah.
within this one city, within this one setting. Um,
And I think
I'm glad. Was the movie ever spoiled for you, Steven? Because
No,
there's
no, no.
there's a massive
oh,
twist.
okay, that's fun.
Yeah. There's a big
Yeah.
twist at the end about what the city is.
Yeah.
And it's like the idea is cool. I like we said at the beginning, it's a cool movie, but like, do I see myself like going back? Like when I was done with it, I wasn't like blown away. I wasn't like, like I wasn't going like, God damn it. Like, I feel like other movies that of course that this movie inspired or came out around the same time did this idea better.
Yeah. I don't want to mention other
course.
movies, but I feel like Dark City has reached that cult status
Yeah.
where it's like that cool older kid that you knew would tell you about Dark City. And he would tell you about like these other movies that you like, gotta see. Because you gotta be cool like him. And Dark City would be one of them.
And I'll go ahead and mention it. The Matrix, of course, came out like right after this.
Sure.
And some people say that Matrix, it was like literally like a year later. Like, I don't know that the Matrix took the ideas from this movie. I don't know if there was time. But that movie,
I mean, they did put everybody in trench coats. I mean, that's all they did.
Sure.
No.
The Crow had already done that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Proyas was already playing with that.
He was already doing that.
Yeah. The other thing about this movie, and around this time, and even into the early 2000s, this fits into this movie category, which is like, what if a Twilight Zone episode was an hour and a half long? Like, I feel like there are so many movies like that, and they're so hit or miss. I remember people raving about that movie, Identity. Remember the one where the people were at the hotel? I hated that so much.
I just watched it for the first time last week.
So many people love that. And I was like, this is absolute trash. And then
I feel like kind of obvious very early on in that movie.
No, I think it's interesting that you saw it for the first time, and I liked when you brought it up, because in my head I'm like, oh man, I'd love to watch that again for the first time. But now, like, maybe at this age, I'd
love to hear what you think of it now.
I
mean, and like, I'm definitely gonna keep investigating this film. I want to see if my thoughts change on it. But I'll tell you my pairing when we get back around. So
great.
See where my mind is. So Doug, please tell us, what did you pair with Morocco?
All right, here we go. Get ready, everybody, to just turn off the podcast. No,
it's going to be Dumb and Dumber. I know.
It's pretty dumb. No, first of all, I am a listener of your show. I'm not just a guest. I'm a listener. And I tend to, when I listen to your show, I really pay attention to pairings. Like, that's my favorite part about listening to the show, because I try and put myself in the theater and I'm like, okay, I just watched this and now this starts. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, those were too similar, or I don't know, that was a comedy. Do I want to watch another comedy?
Yeah.
So I'm setting this up as a double feature where if you were there for the first one, you might leave before the second one, and the second one might bring in a whole other audience. But if you stay, you're into something, because I'm going to stay in 1998, and I'm going to, after Morocco, I am going to show the Jean-Claude Van Damme, The Legionnaire.
Oh, wow.
Which is his popularity was waning in the late 90s. So it's not top tier. I mean, this is post Time Cop. It's a couple years after Time Cop. He is a professional boxer who is paid to take a dive, does not take a dive, and then to escape joins the French Foreign Legion.
As you do.
The reason why I found this movie fascinating, first of all, I do have the disc, but I only have the disc. Like, it was like a 6 JCVD films on one
I
DVD.
have that.
Okay.
It used to be in every bargain bin you could possibly
find. Yeah, I just have it in the binder.
Paired with The Quest.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yes.
Like Lionheart.
Yeah. So, he's in the whole getup. I mean, he looks like Cary Grant in Morocco, of course. It's also a period piece. I think it takes place in the 40s or 50s, something like that. The reason why this movie is fascinating is there are some fights. Of course, you got to get some kicks and some splits and everything that you want from him in here. But it's a movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme cries upwards of 4 times in this movie. It's amazing. I mean, he is going for it. He is trying to act in this movie, and he's doing a pretty good job. Like, he gets in conflicts, fights with his other, compatriots there, but then he forms some friendships and they get in some battles and some of his friends die. And you can see it, like you can see him react, and it's kind of great. It's a film that's a little bit too long. And the other thing about this movie is the people behind it, the people making it. Who's the I have the thing pulled up. Peter McDonald, like a journeyman director, directed this thing. And this was all set to have a TV series made when it was all said and done. It was going to sort of be like an Incredible Hulk A-Team thing where it was just JCVD having adventures every week in the French Foreign Legion. But this didn't even get a theatrical release. Like, this was straight to DVD. So all of that stuff was scrapped. But I feel like this was sort of a weird tipping point in his career where he wasn't as popular anymore. And I think he's taken so many chances and so many risks with what he's trying to do in this movie, because it's not all just kicks and splits. It doesn't all work, but if you're at least a JCVD, if you have a little bit of interest, I think it's something worth checking out. And I do think that for as bonkers as this pairing is, it might be kind of a fun afternoon.
Oh, I agree. You're making me want to go watch it. I have not watched this movie in years.
Okay.
But I used to watch all these Van Damme movies all the damn time. And this was in the rotation for sure. So you're making me want to do this.
That's great.
You got me.
That's great. I did my job then. If one person wants to watch this afterwards, it was worth it.
You got me. Andrew, any comments on Legionnaire?
I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it.
We got to add that to the Unwatched pile.
I know.
Yeah,
there's a serious lack of Jean-Claude Van Damme in my collection in general.
Wow, that's sad.
I guarantee you this thing's on like Tubi and Pluto and all that stuff.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's on Prime. Watch it on Prime.
There too.
Okay,
it's
great.
Prime, yeah.
Not quite as many
Pluto
commercials.
TV,
then.
Plex, Peacock. It's everywhere, man. Go for it.
Yeah.
Love it, Doug.
Yeah, just wanted to do something different. Wanted to, maybe, I don't know. Like I said, for a pairing, if I'm going to a double feature, I kind of want to be tossed around a little bit.
You're a little bit in my cat. I mean, I'm similar. Like, I like something that's not quite the first choice, but you took it a little bit further. You were like, I'm going to make this like a really different movie. But there's
also was filmed in Morocco, so there's a
connection.
More and more piled it on.
It's a connection there. There is a connection there. But Andrew,
yes,
double us up again.
Double us up. So I am way more traditional than Doug is, and clearly Steven is as well. It's interesting because it would be easy to just pair up Whisper of the Heart with another Studio Ghibli film, another Japanese animation film, another animated film in general. But I decided to switch to go back to the live action just to kind of hit a lot of these major themes that I was talking about, specifically with existential crises as a teenager, as an adolescent, and dealing with all of that.
Your favorite
and
thing.
The movie that kept coming up in my head all the time was, I may have done this movie before, so this may be a first here, and that is Lady Bird, the Greta Gerwig film.
I brought this movie up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you did, but I brought it up.
I can't remember if I used it before or not, or maybe it was a possibility once and I just didn't bring it up. But Lady
I know
Bird,
that I listened to your show. I swear this was brought up last time I was on your show.
Probably was.
I mean, it's possible, but I know I recently brought it up with something. So it's like 3 or 4 episodes ago. Yeah,
I could have very well brought it up at that time.
I could be wrong, though. Yeah,
I got to get this list together so we know.
Yeah, we really do. But this is the Greta Gerwig film from 2017. Kind of her breakout film as a director. Because she did Lady Bird, then she did Little Women in 2019, then the Barbie $1 billion box office bonanza movie 2 years ago. And then now she's doing Chronicles of Narnia for Netflix. So we'll see how that goes. But anywho, this is her her adolescent film, her coming of age film. This is the movie starring Saoirse Ronan, Laurie Metcalf, Tracy Letts, Lucas Hedges, Timothy Chalamet before his career really exploded now, and he's in all the Dune movies and whatnot. Beanie Feldstein's in the film as well. Jonah Hill's sister before she became kind of more well known. And yeah, this is a movie dealing with a lot of those similar existential adolescent themes, but this character is a little bit older than the Whisper of the Heart character, whereas the Whisper of the Heart character is like 14 years old, so they're kind of in that early teenage years. Lady Bird is older. She's like 17, 18, about to go to college, ending her high school career, having fights with her parents, specifically her mother, portrayed by Laurie Metcalf. But it is also a movie trying with a young person trying to figure out what they want to do. Lady Bird specifically wants to get away from where she lives, which it happens to be Sacramento, California. She wants to get away from her parents. She wants to go to the East Coast. She wants to pursue, I forget what she wants to pursue in terms of her education, but it's something, along the lines of something creative, I think. It's been years since I've seen the movie, but it's dealing with all of those things, and it's doing it in a very contemporary way. I know this movie is set around 2003, so it's not as contemporary, but it's still dealing with a lot of similar things that I think young people go through today, and we're going through generations in the past, fighting with parents, trying to figure out what they want to do for their future, trying to figure out how their present is going when it comes to certain teenage things, like dealing with sexual awakenings and things like that, and young romance and whatnot. I mean, Whisper of the Heart, at the heart of it, is about a young romance between two people, who are making their way through life. In this film, you get some of that, but it's more of like a background character building type of stuff, not so much the central part of it. The central part of this movie is definitely the parent and child relationship, and how difficult that can be, how strained it can be, how good it can be, how bad it can be, all of these things. Really, I think I would say one of the better films of the last decade. I would definitely say one of the better films of the 21st century. We're starting to get a lot of those big old 100 movies of the 21st century lists now. Pretty sure Lady Bird is always high up on it, or it's always on there somewhere. So definitely something I would recommend to people to pair up with Whisper of the Heart, or just watch by itself if you're into coming of age films. Most definitely. That's always been something I've kind of like to explore, is throughout the generations, all of these teenage angst, teenage coming of age films all have thematic through lines through them, whether you go back to Rebel Without a Cause in the 50s or go all the way up to the 2010s with Lady Bird, or even more modern day stuff. There's always commonalities between them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I will. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was and Andrew, you kind of spoiled something I was going to say. My daughter, my oldest daughter, who's going to college, she loves this movie, and I find that she's doing things that I did around her same age. Is if you like a movie, you will start to look into what other movies are similar to that. And I remember her watching this and then coming to me and being like, have you ever heard of this movie, Rebel Without a Cause? And I'm like, yes, and you should watch it immediately. Yes, please do. So yeah, it's really great, and it's just really nice to see different generations having these types of films, when they are that age, and they're able to connect so strongly to the main characters. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, the movie, as you brought Lady Bird up, the movie that I thought about to go with Whisper of the Heart was Love and Basketball. Would be a good pairing, two people that are interested in the same thing, kind of having a weaving relationship.
Yeah.
I was thinking of other kind of, movies with people pursuing their passions.
Yeah.
So I was even thinking of Almost Famous. How William in that movie wants to be a rock and roll journalist, and he's literally pursuing that passion, despite, the rocky road it's taking him, being away from his family, having to miss out on graduation in school, and going on the road with his band. But that's kind of like how you have to do to pursue that type of passion.
For sure. Yeah.
It's like when Jean-Claude Van Damme wanted to pursue being a Muay Thai fighter. And
nice.
Guys, please don't have me back because now it's going to be a joke, and I'm bringing a Van Damme movie every time.
Do it every time.
I think he's got one for every occasion.
I don't even like Van Damme movies, honestly.
I mean, we should just start a new podcast with Van Damme. All Van Damme stuff.
Call it Damn with Van Damme.
There's at least one that I know of.
There's probably a podcast for everything, but
yeah.
All right, let me top this off, guys. So I went through all the things that were pretty obvious, and then I said I threw them out the window, like stuff like The Matrix, Metropolis, the Blade Runner films. Like I was like, them are all stylistically very, very much influences, or have it. Dark City has influenced something like Inception, and this film came out a couple years later after Dark City, and it's not necessarily stylistically. It's not influenced in that way. And I don't even think it really influenced at all, but the filmmaker likes to make movies that deal with time and memory and things like that. Very popular director, Christopher Nolan. So it is an Inception, but it is another one of his films that deal with memory. And it's also a noir. So I thought that was perfect. And that's Memento. This is the DVD. I have my Blu-ray inside, but it's the DVD set.
Nice.
And, so I chose Memento because of the aspect of Dark City that I thought was really interesting was the concept of what the strangers are doing. They're studying humans and studying their behavior and studying what makes them human. Mm-hmm. And so in Memento, you have this man, and spoiler alert for Memento, you have this man who has short-term memory loss. His wife has been murdered and he's trying to find the murderer. But he's got short-term memory loss, and he can only remember up until her death. And so now he has to do intricate things to remember. He keeps notes. He does tattoos on his body to keep up with critical information to figure out who the killer is. But what we understand by the end of this film is that he doesn't want this to end. He was the person that got his wife killed. So he creates a reason to keep going out looking for another person, and so is it like, does he really have amnesia, or is he just doing this? Is it an excuse to go out looking for somebody else to blame? That's the question of the movie. And I think that a lot of the movies like this in genre, these existential human condition type of movies like The Matrix, like things about plugging out the real world, what's between the dream and the real world. Like this movie kind of encapsulates that within a kind of noir murder mystery. That's not high concept sci-fi like a lot of these other movies, but takes it into this very, kind of noir, like thought provoking, level that Nolan's become really known for. And just really sums it up in a dark way, that sometimes we don't act on the greatest impulses, and you got this guy who just can't let this go, and just can't look at the fact that he was the reason his wife died, and he's willing to just basically become a serial killer to keep forgetting it. So there was the other movie I was really serious about putting into this was Total Recall. And because Total Recall is another movie about a guy that wants to have this fantasy. He wants to go have this fantasy life. So he decides he might want to go in and have his brain, insert into this thing to have this adventure. And and I really thought about that one, but I thought this one really connected more with me with what I connected with Dark City, which was that thematic concept of the human, the strangers wanting to know, human behavior and the soul. And so what do you think? What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a great pairing. I mean, what am I gonna say? Memento.
You can say whatever you want.
It's amazing. No, Memento is a phenomenal film. Memento is a film that I saw, and then I was like, well, from now on, Guy Pearce needs to be in everything, and I was kind of disappointed.
And he literally never recast him in anything after that.
Yeah, I always get excited when he pops up and stuff. I'm like, oh, you're the guy from Memento. That's so cool. Listen, I'm sure he's having a great life. But no, it's it's an amazing film, and it's just one of those where, boy, if you go in knowing nothing and you're just like, to watch that again. I know I talked about this with Dark City, but I don't think there's any other film that I've seen. Maybe, like, I know this sounds weird, but like Black Narcissus, same sort of impact. Like, to watch those films again for the first time would be incredible. Like, I would love to erase that from my mind and go in blind to Memento again. It's absolutely incredible. It's dark, it's upsetting if you think about it, but boy, while you're watching it, it's a great ride. Like, it's absolutely thrilling and super fun at every turn. And I just love the idea of you as a viewer being a surrogate for the main character. Like, you don't know what's going on, and I don't know how many movies are bold enough to do that, to just be like, hey, guess what, you're not going to know what's happening at all until the end. Are you on board for that? But boy, this movie's stylish, and it's fun, and it's funny at times, and yeah, it's a great ride. So
yeah, it's the movie that really launched Christopher Nolan's career.
Sure.
Like, it's the movie that really got people to notice him, because this movie was a really hot commodity at the time. And Steven, I don't think you mentioned it, but the whole movie's told in like reverse. Where it's we're watching like the events kind of happen. It's backwards.
It sets up what we would get with Nolan through his whole career. He's somebody that's obsessed with time and obsessed with perception. He's obsessed with changing your idea of how you see a story told. Like,
messing around with non-linear storytelling, which is something we typically see in like surreal cinema or avant-garde cinema. You don't really typically see it in mainstream cinema, because mainstream cinema just doesn't want to mess with people. It wants to just tell you things straight. Whereas the more surreal artsy stuff likes to play with the medium, likes to like play with the audience, challenge the audience when they have to like keep up with plot, keep up with characters, keep up with just the narrative in general. So Nolan was really being incredibly experimental. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that type of stuff. When they like to watch movies, they think they like to have a simple time. They like to have an entertaining time. They don't like to be challenged by what they're watching. So this is probably not the film for you if you're one of people like that. But yeah, I remember Memento's another one of those movies, similar to Dark City, where it's like you hear about it from like your film friends. You know what I mean? Like your movie fan friends. Like, oh, have you seen the movie Memento? Oh, you have to see it. You know? It's a lot of movies that were like that. It's kind of a lot of how we used to learn about these types of movies back in the early internet days. By that, I mean like the 2000s, where there were places on the internet where you could learn about movies. Like IMDb's been around forever, but it was a word of mouth thing for a lot of us, I think, where for us to kind of learn about what people were talking about just by listening to people talk about them. I remember hearing people talking in stores when I was buying DVDs back in the 2000s, and they would be talking out loud about certain movies with people. And that's how I learned like what certain movies were. So it's a very interesting type of time, because I think Memento came out in what, 2000?
2000.
Is it that early?
Yeah, it was that early. Yeah.
So it was Memento, then Insomnia, and then Batman Begins. I think that's how the order goes.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible trajectory.
I know.
As a filmmaker.
And I will say, Andrew, like I'll argue a little bit about with what you said, because I think, like, and this is a testament to Nolan. Like you sit a bunch of frat bros around and show them, I don't know, what Meshes of the Afternoon. They're not gonna watch that shit. They'll watch Memento and they'll love it. Like, he made this so accessible. Like, it's incredible.
Nolan's the exception to the rule. There's a reason why Oppenheimer made nearly $1 billion.
Exactly.
Oppenheimer's not like you saying, like a frat bros type of movie. It's not Batman. It's not Inception. It's not even a biopic. It's about the making of the atomic bomb. And it's nearly 3 hours long, and it made nearly $1 billion because Nolan's kind of broken the mold when it comes to the audiences. He's kind of the exception to the rule where people will go see anything that he puts out typically. And all walks of life, all different types of film fans. So you are right, Doug. Like he he challenges the audience, but like he also like brings in the regular people too. It's so fascinating to me how he's
incredible. Like
he's kind of the only filmmaker typically. Spielberg, I guess, but Spielberg really hasn't done a challenging movie in quite some time.
It's an example of that. If you actually don't look at your audience as being dumb, you can actually be very successful. You don't have to make dumb movies. I mean, we need our dumb movies. We need our Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Sure.
Movies.
Yeah. Why not?
But if you really tried and you put like some effort into your movies more, people will still go. You don't need them to be spoon-fed. Like it's, they come in droves for these movies where you have conversations with your friends afterwards because you have different takes on what happened. Like that's part of what makes cinema great, is the conversations we have about them afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I felt like that this was an interesting pairing just for that aspect of, memory being an intricate part of Dark City's story, and the character in the story has short-term memory, and he uses the little memory he has to try to figure out who killed his wife. But then again, he uses it's a very dark movie.
I also like the pairing because Dark City is so visually dark, and Memento's like a sun-drenched noir. Like, and I really love that. So
it's got some. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I really think about these. And honestly, at this point, if I had this as a double, I would be like, okay, Memento second, so I can get over my disappointment of Dark City a little bit, because I was like, it's fine. Let me watch Memento now.
Yeah, you ate your vegetables. Now you can have dessert.
Now I'll eat my cheeseburger, comfort food. But that is it. We lost Doug for a second. I'm sure he'll be back in us. Oh wait, what happened?
I think you tried to silence.
Did I try to silence you? I don't. If I did, it was by accident.
No, I don't know what happened.
I don't either. But that is it for this installment of the Unwatched Pile. Doug, it's always a pleasure, man.
So much fun. Thank you guys for having me. And I will say, if I could talk to your wonderful listeners for a minute, I'm like an old man. I just listen to podcasts. I don't watch them. You guys have so much fun visual stuff on here. So guys, if you're listening, watch this show. Like I don't watch it, but just sitting here watching like the opening and everything, you guys are doing some fun stuff visually. So check it out, everybody.
I appreciate it. What is it? About a couple, maybe almost 2 years ago, we decided to start doing all these shows on YouTube because we were told that we needed to. And so we started, and as I've learned this whole thing more, I'm like, dude, every show's going to have its own thing. I'm going to, so yeah, it's fun. I appreciate it. I put effort into this.
Oh, definitely.
Nicely done.
But of course, go listen to Doug's show, Good Times, Great Movies. You can get it on Apple Podcast. Is it on Spotify too?
Yeah, it's on YouTube as well. We have a YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, check it out.
Awesome. And of course, subscribe to Chasing Labels. Follow us on the audio platforms as well. And like I said, this coming weekend, we have Movies Down Memory Lane. We're doing the film Spotlight with our friend Dan, and then Chasing Labels next Monday. So thank you, everybody. And what are you doing? You still here? You should be kicking some ass with Van Damme, watching Legionnaire, and joining the French Foreign Legion. Get out of here. Bye.